the worst example of youth ministry that's probably the most prominent is the youth ministry that doesn't exist. And what I mean by that is that 3 out of 4 parishes currently cannot afford to have a youth minister. And so a lot of people, what they'll do in the vacuum of that is like, well, we'll get a volunteer to do catechetics. And so they'll have great knowledge, which quite candidly is kind of redundant because the kids that go to that are the people that go to Catholic education.
Right.
And so it's kind of like, okay, here I am yet again, boring and wasting my time. And so I would say, to answer that, I don't think that there's enough youth ministry in most parishes.
I didn't realize you said 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4, and that's
crazy.
Old information.
Right. That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that COVID was a big killer for a lot of the youth groups.
Correct.
I'm familiar with.
Yeah. About a third drop.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're a good stats guy. I like that.
Yeah. It keeps me up at night.
No, that's crazy. What are you guys' thoughts? Youth ministry done poorly. What does that look like?
Yeah, I was honestly going to say the same thing. It's that the worst youth ministry is youth ministry not done at all. I like something that I've just noticed in doing youth ministry, especially in high school and college when I was doing these day retreats just in St. Louis in like these different parishes, is a lot of these teens just want to feel seen.
Yeah.
It was really interesting walking into groups where the teachers were like, this is the worst class. Like they don't listen, like they don't, but like I would get into conversations with these teens, and as soon as I would make eye contact with them, treat them like they were a person with thoughts and feelings, they would just start talking to me. They would start telling me everything about their lives. They'd start asking me questions about the faith. And I met them that day. And so these teens just want to be invested in. And if there's no outlet for that, if like nobody's willing to invest them, no one's willing to look them in the eye, then like that is like the worst youth ministry program, is just not having one.
Yeah, we talked about this last episode, which will be probably a week ahead of this or a week behind this. So I want to rehash it a little bit about the importance of, and it sounds weird almost when you say it, but of community over catechesis, right? Mm-hmm. And catechesis is super important. We like catechesis. That's great. You should all know about your faith. You should dive deeper in. But when you're dealing with young people, especially high school, middle school age, right? That age group, you will get nowhere if you're treating this like it's, Mr. Russell's history class, right? Mm-hmm. It's not school, and it should be structured like school. It should be structured like community. How do you do that? I would love to talk a little bit about community building with young people through youth ministry. How do you do
that? Cater to their needs and go crazy. So a big thing that we do at Life Teen, we're all Life Teen missionaries here. We have a model called like Gather, Proclaim, Break, Send, which is a big part of things that we do in missions and as a youth ministry organization as well, with different resources that we put out. So it's kind of a 4-parter to like a successful life night or successful youth ministry. First being a gather, which is usually some sort of a game, but I think the bigger the better. It can look as big as like at camp we have a obstacle course that can take up almost like 300 yards of area with muddy slides and like people running around going crazy, dance parties, slip and slide, kickball. Those things are like fun. It can be as simple as just like a game of 4 corners to start it off, or maybe like watching a big football game on Sunday night with like your youth group, just like something like that. So like that can be part of it. That's like the gather, the first part. Then the proclaim, break, send is where like the catechesis comes in afterwards. So proclaim, usually somebody giving a talk or like the main meat of a session. A break, which usually ends up being a small group or some sort of like activity after that, and a send. As we leave this place, how can we continue what we learned today? How can we do something more? But I think the gather is a very like slept on and very important part of that, Like if you don't get the teens in there for the fun, then they're not going to come at all. So, the same place where I pie my youth minister in the face can be the same place that I like learn about like what it means to be Catholic. It's like a huge thing. So go crazy and cater their needs. Do what they want, do what's fun for them.
We would do the dumbest things in the whole world. It was so great. And we got all these traditions of dumb things. We had a prom that we did every year that was, everybody had like a budget of $5 or something. Going back to Goodwill. People would go to Goodwill and wear these awful, like the worst clothes ever. And it was just this dumb, eat a bunch of food and dance and whatever with like, 18 kids, right, in the basement youth room. And it was so much fun. And they loved it. It was that wholesome, something, a line that I always go back to is like, what we call cheesy is usually just wholesome, but we're jaded and cynical, so we don't realize how wholesome and beautiful it is, right? And there's a hunger for it because it's really hard to find just like authentic, good, dumb fun anywhere anymore. Everything seems to be tinged a little bit with, I don't know, some brokenness. So no, that's cool. That's huge. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if you're enjoying the content, be sure to like, subscribe, and go back and watch the full length video. We talk a lot more about this. We get into some other stuff. I think you'll love it. Thanks.